headlines, IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu arrested and extradited for face trial. Zamfara senator announces resignation of membership from PDP. Former South African president sentenced to jail for contempt. Welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Hussaina Usman. In the news, leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, has been arrested and extradited to Nigeria. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, said Kanu's arrest is a collaborative effort of Nigerian intelligence and security services. Malami said he will continue to face trial after he jumped bail on 11-count charges leveled against him. It is recalled that Kanu was arrested on 14th October 2015 on 11-count charges bordering on terrorism, treasonable felony, managing an unlawful society, publication of defamatory matter, illegal possession of firearms, and improper importation of goods, among others. Meanwhile, a federal high court in Abuja has remanded Nnamdi Kanu in custody of the Department of State Services, DSS, till July 26th. The DSS has rearranged Kanu before Justice Binta Nyako on Tuesday. Counsel for the Attorney General of the Federation, Shuaib Labaran, has asked the court for an order to detain arrested IPOB leader in the DSS facility. Justice Nyako granted the plea and adjourned the matter till 26 July for continuation of trial. We are now joined by security expert Kabiru Adamu. Kabiru, there hasn't been much agitation in the last 2 weeks, but with Nnamdi Kanu's arrest, there are reports of unease in Imo State. What implication does this have on the cessation of violent attacks on police formations?
In any circumstance where a leader of any particular group is limited from his ability to perform his functions, that action will have an impact on the group, at least in the short term. Now, what contingency arrangements the indigenous people of Biafra has in place to for situations like that will determine how this evolves. The structure, we know that was arrested in 2014-2015. The group still continued with activities. It was able to recruit a lawyer. The lawyer was able to stand through the trial and all that. So it appears they have some contingency arrangement to allow for continuity even when their leadership is in detention. And this is what play out. Of course, with a statement released by the indigenous people of Biafra confirming the arrest and of their leader and asking the federal government to follow constitutional means in terms of their attempt to prosecute him. So it doesn't seem effect or impact on the secessionist agitations within the Southeast, at least in the short term.
Now, at some points, the UK was accused of shielding Nnamdi Kanu. What do you have to say about the collaboration between Nigerian security forces and the Interpol?
So Nigeria is a signatory of the agreement that set up the Interpol, and I know they have an office here at the police headquarters. They've also got their operatives there. I also know that the Interpol has collaborated with Nigeria extensively beyond what is in the public. Interpol, it's a police unit that is international and is not allied to any particular country. It has its rules, and as long as you comply with those rules and then you are going to get the benefit of being a member of such an association. Now, with regards to the UK's involvement or lack of involvement in Nigeria's desire to prosecute Nnamdi Kanu, let's remember that Nnamdi Kanu has dual citizenship as far as we know. He's Scottish citizenship, and so the British is obliged to protect its citizen to the extent that that citizen has not broken any of its law. Now, what kind of agreement does the UK have with Nigeria with regards to support for enforcement of Nigerian laws? as well as extradition treaties. Those are things that expected our international lawyers, especially the Office of the Attorney General, to have pursued. And it appears that this is what it has done to achieve this I would say, phenomenal law. The only permit, and of course, the British people, the British government has its interest. Now, how Nigeria projects its interest vis-a-vis this British interest is what played out over this period that Nnamdi Kanu jumped bail until, of course, this weekend when he was arrested and executed.
All right, what's your take on the Yoruba People's Rally set to commence on the 3rd of July to be spearheaded by Sunday Igboho?
First off, I would like to recognize the universal right of association and to protest. I think it's the right of every citizen or group to do. However, it must be in certain confines of the law. And that is where I would say the role of our security agencies to ensure that there is no breakdown of law and order in a constitutional manner is maintained. In other words, Sunday Igboho and his supporters have the right to protest, but the law enforcement agencies have a right to protect citizens who are not interested in the protest, who would not want to be stopped from their day-to-day activities by the protesters. What other countries would do is to identify the routes that the protesters will go through, the locations that the protesters will stay, and then use law enforcement means to ensure that protesters don't go outside of those routes and do not disrupt public movement and activities within the state. Unfortunately, agencies don't do that. They wait for these protesters to gather, and then they attempt to forcefully disperse them. And that is when sometimes occurs. The role of politicians is also to watch and be a bit concerned. We've seen how Sunday Igboho has been mobilized. The last time he did a rally in Osun State, he came with about 10 Hiluxes, brand new Hilux van. The cheapest Hilux at the moment is around 18 million. And if you could come with, talking of about 180 million naira. So it tells you that he's probably being bankrolled, and whoever is bankrolling him has an objective. And so those are the things that we're monitoring ahead of how those that are bankrolling him would project the protest and what responses Nigerian agencies would met out to him and his fellow protesters.
Thank you for joining us. That was security expert Kabiru Adamu. Still in the news, Senator representing Zamfara Central in the National Assembly, Hassan Mohammed Nasiha, has announced his resignation from the People's Democratic Party, PDP. The lawmaker announced his resignation in a letter read on the floor of the Red Chamber by Senate President Ahmed Lawan at resumption of plenary Tuesday. He said his decision to leave the PDP is necessitated by collapse of internal democracy and factionalization of the party in Zamfara State. Senator Mohammed, in a letter, however, did not disclose the party he's joining. He is among the lawmakers from Zamfara State expected to follow the state governor, Bello Mohammed Matawale, to join the All Progressives Congress, APC. In the meantime, Abdulaziz Yari-led faction of the All Progressive Congress said the planned defection of Zamfara State Governor Matawale to APC is a welcome development, even though they were not consulted. According to Yari, the defection is a plus to the party and not a threat.
Against it, I have a reason. And if I supported it, I also have a reason. My reason are my people. So therefore, I think the narration of what has happened in the past has passed, and we are welcoming him into our party, because it's only that when you did a good thing that somebody may pay to join. But if it's APP, it's just in this area, there's many parties there. There's ABGA, there's every party. But it's not to join APC. So because the APC was built, if the action made by PDP in Zamfara and other part of the state, and APC did the same, there will have not be APC in the center that attract anyone to join. I think, but because of the performance that we perform in Zamfara, in Bauchi, in Kano, in Borno, in Lagos, that's what attracting people to be, because we have the control of the center. But if we did the same thing that they did in the past, there will be no APC that will be attracted, support to join. So therefore, we welcome each and every person, member of PDP that is coming to APC.
The immediate past second vice chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association, Onyekachi Ubani, speaks on legality or otherwise of defection from one political party to another.
The constitution has provided the process of removal. The means under which a governor can lose his seat or vacate his seat. One of which is by impeachment. The other one is by death. And I think one has to do with his medical. Defection is not one of them. It's only for the legislators, National Assembly member. I think 68 to 1G and all that. I think 68. Section 68 that makes provision for the legislators to vacate their seat if they want to defect to another political party without any reason. You can defect. They allow the law, even the constitution allows even legislators to defect. But they must prove evidence of crisis in the political party from which they are coming. But for executive, they were very silent. The constitution did not say that a governor has to specify or satisfy a condition before he can defect. Neither was he encouraged to defect. So the concern is very silent. So if the concern is silent, now would you not go and remove a governor based upon what the concern did not prescribe? So the only thing for us to do is to amend the law, amend the constitution. And be specific that any governor that leaves his political party under which he came to power, he should vacate the seat. In the absence of any such provision, it will be difficult to remove a governor under any other. I don't know under what section. Yeah, he contests election under political power and came to power under this. Was there any provision in the constitution that he can also be removed for if he defects? There's not. It's not a condition for removal. There is no condition as defection for removing a governor, either remotely or directly.
Coming up, Northern Group demands referendum. Join us after the break. Get latest updates on current topical issues and breaking news by downloading the Trust TV mobile app on your Android devices. Go online, click Google Play Store, search Trust TV, install the app, and get doses of unfiltered information on happenings all over the world in your pocket. Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Aren't you all concerned that, look, we are just going further into a deep pit?
It is easy to say, oh yes, the government is elected, oh yes, we made promises to secure.
And as you know, humans are not robots, so maybe not 100% of Nigerians will stand over the matter.
The majority are
without peace, there can be nothing. Nothing can happen.
In fairness to the question, I have heard this. I will be dishonest to say I'm not aware of this reporting.
My name is Samuel Dada.
Yakubu Isa, ana mana kabila jeje.
Aminu Musa.
A wannan harkar ce muke dan samun abinci, an muke taimaka mu wasu da yawa.
Looking for private jobs. Sometimes you get employed and the process of payment, you undergo some kind of stress.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Here's a recap of our top stories. Nnamdi Kanu to face trial July 26. PDP loses senator from Zamfara State. And moving on to more stories, Northern Coalition Group says agitations for separation in parts of the country can only be addressed through referendum. Spokesperson of the group, Abdulaziz Suleiman, said the National Assembly is dragged before the courts on restructuring and constitution review to end agitations in the country.
A pressure group, Northern Coalition Group, says agitations for separation in parts of the country can only be addressed through referendum. Spokesperson of the group, Abdulaziz Suleiman, said the National Assembly is dragged before the court on restructuring and constitutional review to end agitations in the country.
So you can see upon all this magnanimity and the fact that so far the Igbo is found right in the hinterland of northern Nigeria. There was this migration from the southeast into the north, and that migration is permanent because as at the last count, there are about 20, not less than 20 million Igbo residing in various parts of northern Nigeria, and 14 million of that 20 million are property owners. They own houses, personal houses, they own shops in northern Nigeria. While there are just 4 million northerners in the southeast in particular, and none of the 4 million owns a property of his own, none.
The Northern Coalition Group says the region has all it takes to be on its own if other regions want separation. Its spokesperson noted that northern part of the country is accommodating others from various parts of the country, but the reverse is the case for its people in other parts.
Even the herdsmen that they've been talking about, herdsmen go away. So far we have discovered that only 10% of the herdsmen that were in the south are remaining in the south now. 90% of them had migrated back to the north. We were even asking the federal government to evacuate the remaining 10% so that we have peace. Let them evacuate them. So this is the ratio. You can see the Igbo is the tribe that enjoys much hospitality, much accommodation and tolerance than every other Nigerian ethnic group in the country. Yes, they don't reciprocate that.
However, other groups link the agitations in parts of the country to the problem of underdevelopment, high level of poverty, inequality in resource sharing, perceived marginalization in socio-economic and political settings of the country. Fatima Laden, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
From the international scene, a constitutional court in South Africa has sentenced former President Jacob Zuma to 15 months in prison for contempt of court. Zuma is found guilty by the country's highest court after he defied its order to appear at a corruption inquiry centered on his tenure between 2009 and 2018. The Constitutional Court said in a judgment on Tuesday that the only appropriate sanction is a direct unsuspended order of imprisonment lasting 15 months. Still on foreign stories, Israeli Foreign Minister Yair Lapid is the first minister in history to officially visit the United Arab Emirates after he arrived the country on Tuesday to inaugurate Israel's embassy in Abu Dhabi and a consulate in Dubai. Lapid will meet with his Emirati counterpart, Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, to discuss bilateral issues and economic cooperation. And in sports, the home-based Super Eagles players have been granted visas for their high-profile friendly match against Mexico in the U.S. 23 players from Nigeria Professional Football League will play part in the match at the Los Angeles Coliseum due to the unavailability of Gennaro Ross' regular side, who are preparing for their respective clubs pre-season. The team is expected to depart for the U.S. from Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, on Wednesday. Before we wrap up, here's a kicker of an octopus that paints. Such high level of creativity for an animal. And on that note, we have come to the end of Trust TV News Update. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms. I am Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.